You know, pregnancy is this incredible journey of hope and excitement. But let's be honest, it also comes with a lot of uncertainty. Today, we're diving into a scientific breakthrough that is totally changing that experience for millions of parents. A test that gives a remarkably clear preview of a baby's health long before they're even born.
Those 9 months are just a wild mix of emotions, aren't they? On one hand, you've got this incredible excitement and all these dreams. But on the other, you've got those nagging what-if questions that can definitely keep you up at night.
And that really gets to the heart of the technology we're talking about today. I mean, what if you could get some real answers to those big questions and get them early? What if you could have not just hope, but also solid information to go with it?
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that feeling. You're busy planning for this future you absolutely can't wait for, but at the same time you're navigating that fear of the unknown.
Right, because for every dream you have of their first steps or reading them bedtime stories, there's that little worry in the back of your mind about health risks or genetic conditions that could change everything. And that is the emotional space where modern prenatal science is trying to help.
So how can science bring some clarity into all this uncertainty? Well, a totally new kind of screening has come along, and it's a powerful solution. It's called non-invasive prenatal testing, or NIPT for short.
Okay, to really get why NIPT is such a huge leap forward, we first need to look at what we had before. For years, the standard was what's called first trimester screening, a combo of blood tests and ultrasounds. And they're pretty good, but their accuracy usually hovers around 85%.
Now, look at this. This is the difference. With NIPT, the detection accuracy for a condition like Down syndrome skyrockets to over 99%. That's not just a small improvement. That is a monumental jump in precision.
So how in the world is that leap in accuracy even possible? Well, unlike the traditional methods, which can sometimes give you a false positive, NIPT is just a simple blood test taken from the mother. There's zero risk to the fetus, and it delivers way higher accuracy. It's a total game changer for getting that early reassurance.
I know what you're thinking. Getting that level of accuracy from a simple blood draw, it almost sounds like science fiction, right? So let's pull back the curtain and see how this amazing science actually works.
The absolute key to all of this is something called cell-free fetal DNA. It sounds complex, but the idea is actually pretty simple. As early as 9 weeks into a pregnancy, tiny little fragments of the baby's DNA from the placenta make their way into the mother's bloodstream. It's incredible. It means a sample of the mom's blood actually contains a sample of her baby's genetic blueprint.
And the process itself is just so straightforward and elegant. That fetal DNA is already there, floating around. A simple blood sample is taken from the mom's arm. The lab then isolates those tiny fragments, and then the high-tech analysis begins. It's all completely non-invasive.
Okay, but here's the million-dollar question. How does the lab tell the mother's DNA apart from the baby's in that blood sample? This is where the real innovation kicks in. It's a special method called SNP-based technology. Think of it as the secret sauce that can precisely tell the difference between the two sets of DNA. And that's what makes the test so accurate and drops that false positive rate so low.
All right, so we get it. It's incredibly accurate, and the science behind it is fascinating. But what does this single blood test actually tell parents? What information are we talking about here?
Well, the test screens for the most common chromosomal conditions. This includes things called trisomies, like Down syndrome, which is caused by an extra chromosome. And it also looks for abnormalities in the sex chromosomes. It can even spot what are called microdeletions, where a teeny tiny piece of a chromosome is missing, which can be linked to some pretty significant health issues. So let's just quickly recap the key details here. The test uses that SNP-based technology we just talked about, but the two numbers that are really crucial are these: an accuracy rate over 99% for Down syndrome, which is also known as Trisomy 21, and a false positive rate of less than 0.1%. That's tiny. And on top of that, parents can typically get the results back in about a week or so. So you might be asking, who is this test for? Well, it's very often recommended for pregnancies that might have higher risk factors, like if the mother is over 35 or if there's a family history of genetic disorders. But honestly, more and more, we're seeing parents in low-risk pregnancies choose it too, simply for that early clarity and peace of mind it can provide.
And all of this really leads us to one powerful point. Getting this information isn't just about having data. It's about what you can do with it. It's about being able to prepare for the future.
I mean, just think about the two paths this information can create. Without early screening, a diagnosis at birth can be a real emotional shock, and you might miss out on important windows for early intervention. But with early screening, parents have time
Time to prepare emotionally, to connect with specialists, to make a medical plan. The whole dynamic shifts from being reactive to being proactive.
And really, this is what it all comes down to. This early screening isn't about changing a baby's genetics. Of course not. It's about empowerment. It's about giving parents the tools and the time they need to face the future with knowledge, with support, and with confidence, no matter what it holds.
So that leaves us with one final big idea to think about. We live in this age of predictive data, where technology gives us an earlier and earlier look into our own biology. So how does knowing so much, so early on, fundamentally change the experience and the journey of becoming a parent? It's definitely something to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me.